So I'd love to say good evening to everyone and a very big welcome to our Graduate Careers event. I'm really excited that you've joined us tonight and cannot wait to tell you more about how you can take the next steps to success as an interdisciplinary social model practitioner. So let's make tonight inspiring and memorable. First, I'd like to start off with an acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which our site is held and pay respect to elders past, present and emerging, thanking Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders for their continued connection to land, waters and community, and acknowledging the important role they play within our communities. Now, at Everyday Independence, we begin every meeting with a reminder of our mission and purpose. It's a reflection of what we strive to achieve every day. We are deeply passionate about our work. We were involved with the trial phase and the very beginning of the NDIS, and it became apparent after 2 to 3 years into the NDIS that the expectations for people living with a disability were really low. And that realisation fueled us and our determination to raise that bar. So from gathering evidence from around the world, we explored what was possible with capacity building and therapeutic supports, leading to the creation of the Everyday Way and our why that is on the page right now. So our mission is to set the bar high, to make inclusion a reality for all Australians and lead the world in this endeavour, knowing that the NDIS is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, positioning us not only as national leaders, but global pioneers in transforming opportunities for people living with a disability. To set the scene this evening, I'd love to play a short clip from Sienna, one of our graduate speech pathologists.
I think what really attracted me to working at Everyday Independence was that they work in the social model. I was really passionate about wanting to work with people and their families on really functional outcomes. And when I heard that that's what Everyday Independence was all about, I knew that they were probably the right people for me. It definitely can be scary and daunting when you first finish university and just wondering, what are the expectations going to be like? What are the families going to be like? What if I don't know everything as well was something that I was really worried about, but I had no need to be worried at all. I was really supported, and as I said, having mentors that you can go out with and actually see how things are done, or on the other side, the mentor can come out with you as well and give you that feedback in real time as well. Everyday Independence has allowed me to think about what I want from my career as a speech pathologist. It's really allowed me to think about the growth that I may be able to have with Everyday Independence and open up opportunities that I don't really think I knew were possible before working here. So pretty much from day one, people are speaking to you about where do you see yourself professionally and how can we support you to get there. And that's amazing to work for somebody who really values that.
So like Sienna said there, it's going to be an opportunity for us to share some insights with you today. So you're going to know who we are, what we do. You're going to learn more about our graduate program and the change in supervision and support. You're going to get an insight into the industry-leading interdisciplinary curriculum and how that connects to you and your career. And not only will you take my word for it, but you're actually going to hear from 2 of our graduates currently in our graduate program who will answer the questions that you want to hear. So my name's Danielle and I'm thrilled to be your host. I'm an occupational therapist and I'm also the area lead for regional Victoria and Tasmania. Now, my journey at EI actually began when I was a 4th year OT student, when I volunteered for some social skills programs. Since then, I officially started as a graduate back in 2017. And over the last 8.5 years, I've had the opportunity to grow, wear many hats, explore, and work with children, youth, and adults. Over all these years, I've enjoyed every moment, and the photo of me there is actually from my very first day at Everyday Independence. You can see I had a big smile, I was super excited, but deep down incredibly nervous about starting off in a new role. And that's what I'm passionate about, the transition from student to practitioner into what is an incredibly rewarding industry. So our promise at the core is that we're making a commitment to empower individuals, ensuring that everyone has an opportunity to actively engage in their communities. Our vision is that the future is for everyone, regardless of their background or abilities, and we all have a chance to fully participate in our society. And our purpose is that inclusion is more than just a goal for us. It's an action. We work hard to break down barriers that hinder community involvement, and our purpose is driving us to create change, not only for tomorrow or a week from now, but a lasting change that's going to take the course for years. How we encompass this is with our values. So at our organisation, we have 5 core values that really champion what we do. These values resonate not only with every individual or stakeholder at Everyday Independence, but also every participant and person that we work alongside, because we focus on skills, confidence, and achieving goals. So Change the Game is about making sure that we're accelerating social change by speaking up with respect and pushing more to focus on people's abilities to be part of the solution. We inspire with belief by supporting people to believe in themselves and that inclusion and change is a true possibility. We champion the person with person-centered practice and principles that allow us to enhance and see what someone's strengths and abilities are. We simplify and go by very simply trying to remove the noise, the stuff that gets in the way, so we can focus on what's important. And my personal favourite value is the one team with purpose. We are all united with this and what we do. We work holistically around our shared purpose, and we focus on our unique skills that we bring to the table as well, whether we come from different backgrounds, cultures, knowledge areas. We all have something of value to add to a team, and we're all accountable to do what we say we want to do. And along the way, we have some fun and enjoy it too. I've spoken a bit about the everyday way, so I'm going to explain what that is in a little bit more detail. So how I want to do that is actually with a story. So an OT was referred to submit an assistive technology or an AT request for a new wheelchair for a participant. However, during the assessments, the OT actually understood that the real issue wasn't the need for a new wheelchair, but the large potholes on the path on the way to the local shops. All it took was the occupational therapist contacting the local council to fill in the pothole. The story actually highlights the importance of removing the barriers in the environment rather than focusing on the person's disability. So once the pothole was fixed, the participant could go to the shops easily, and there wasn't actually a need for a new wheelchair. That is a perfect way to champion the person and inspire with belief. So as a change maker, the key is focusing on what people can do rather than what they can't, highlighting their abilities, seeing the potential and not the limitations. We work in interdisciplinary teams, so that means you're working alongside occupational therapists, speech pathologists, positive behaviour support practitioners, and key workers to make sure that we're really considering every aspect of everyone's life. We have our Everyday Lead tool, which is an acronym that stands for Life Enhancing Ability Development System. Everyday Lead was actually developed by Everyday Independence, and it's based on international best practice regarding disability. It was also overseen by Orima Research, and we engaged them for consultation and engagement on the tool development over the course of 2 years. So the purpose of this assessment and this tool is to lead your life, to understand what we want someone to accomplish and how we're going to support them to get there. Habit coaches are our allied health assistant model, and it's a very cost-effective way and also very impactful way for our participants to build routines, habits, and skills. And lastly, we work in therapy sprints as an evidence-informed approach. What a sprint means is, rather than focusing on therapy becoming someone's identity with a traditional approach of weekly, fortnightly, monthly approaches to therapy sessions, we instead realise that we need to be involved in someone's life when they need us there, to build a skill, to practice, to reinforce it, to be set up for success. And then we want to be able to take a step back a few months later so they maintain their independence. The everyday way aligns with the goals of the NDIS as it is enabling our participants to buy well, to get better value outcomes of their funding in a smarter and more impactful way. So we are looking for more people to join these amazing teams to learn these skills so that you can support participants on this journey. We're also looking for people of experience as well to guide our new graduates, become subject matter experts so that we can continue to grow our support for participants. So why work in disability? Well, firstly, the disability industry is incredibly rewarding. You'll have the opportunity to build long-term connections with your participants, get to know them, work along goals over the course of months and years to see what true change is, and also to see what a meaningful life is for them. You'll be able to work in an incredibly evidence-based manner, with the social model being recognised as a way forward for the disability community. The investment will be in yourself and the people you support. You'll work in creative and innovative ways, trying to overcome challenges, and you'll grow yourself in your career and your earning potential along the way. So I would now like to introduce some wonderful speakers as part of our panel tonight. We are joined with Trish, Meg, Hala, and welcome very much for you all. I know that you've got some wonderful stories here to share. Trish, I would first love to go across to you. Welcome this evening. Can you please introduce yourself and your role here at Everyday Independence?
Sure can. Thanks, Danny, and good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to find out more about our program tonight. I'm the physiotherapy and clinical education lead here at Everyday Independence. I'm really excited to talk to you guys tonight about our graduate program. I'm really passionate about supporting practitioners to learn, develop and grow in their careers so that ultimately we can provide the most impactful therapy support that we can to participants. And in that way, we're supporting people to expect more from their lives and lead the lives they want to live. So I've been involved in developing and overseeing the current graduate program here at Everyday Independence. So I'm really pumped to tell you all about it.
So tell us all about it, Trish. We all want to hear.
I'm chomping at the bit, Danny. So I'm really proud of this program. It's a really unique program in the industry. Our program prepares you to work in the disability sector by marrying what you already know as a graduate with what you need to know working in this sector. So after completing our graduate program, you can really work anywhere. We acknowledge that at uni you gain valuable knowledge and skills in your chosen discipline, often through more of a medical model lens with a focus on impairments. And coming to Everyday Independence and in our graduate program, you learn to extend those skills to work in the social model that Danny was describing earlier, with a more holistic lens to really help people change their lives for the better. So that's pretty huge. You'll learn the best practice principles as a clinician, but you'll also learn about professionalism in the workplace, as well as taking the next step in your career by learning more about being part of an interdis team, being sustainable in your practices as a professional. So it's really all about combining what you've learned at uni with what you learn here in the industry to get the skills to be a real game changer as a professional. So it's all about support, and we hear that all the time from our graduates. So at Everyday Independence, you have 7 key points of support. So there's a lot of support around you. So starting at the top of this, your clinical supervisor is an experienced practitioner, and they're your main clinical support person. And they support you through facilitating fortnightly group supervision sessions, as well as regularly having one-on-one supervision sessions with you to support you through that caseload management, your report writing, anything tricky that might come up for you. Next, we have your induction supervisor. So when you're starting off, they're helping you learn the ropes, support you on the ground to really learn about the everyday way in our support, the way that we support people. A team leader is another support who's there for you. They're an experienced leader at your hub, and they assist you with managing your calendar, your professional habits, anything else that you need in that personal level through weekly check-ins. Also got subject matter experts there. So I've skipped forward a few there to the yellow, but they're the people who are right across best practice in their field, and they support your learning through communities of practice, which are regular learning opportunities, as well as optional online or hub-based learning opportunities. One of those, which is one of my favorites, is our phone a friend style drop-in mentoring, so you can get support when you need it. We also have the supports of the hub. So your teammates, part of the other members of that team, where you're learning together as part of that support team around a participant or their family, and also our admin teams who are always there to support us with technology, systems, and calendars as we need it. And finally, you've got each other as graduates. So we acknowledge the importance of peer learning, and it really is such a rich learning opportunity. So there were opportunities within our graduate program in a structured way for you guys to learn from each other, reflect together. And this happens 3 times every month with group supervision and clinical reflection sessions. So that's 7 ways you're supported as a graduate at Everyday Independence. So on top of that support, we have the learning curriculum, which Danny alluded to earlier. And lots of work's gone into this. And again, something I'm really proud of and something that our graduates are really enjoying. Our graduate program has structured learning curriculum, which covers both the foundational learning you need in your own discipline, as well as a disability-specific curriculum. So over the 12 months, you'll have a targeted learning program, which looks at building and consolidating the skills and knowledge in your own discipline, as well as what you need to know when you work in the disability field. So these learning sessions are tailored to each discipline through the year, and they cover not just technical skills, but really game-changing skills like coaching, managing courageous conversations, some things that on reflection I think were real game changers in my career, and giving you really valuable skills that you're going to be able to take and use for the rest of your career. So on top of all of this learning that you have as a graduate, you also can access an external PD budget to follow your own professional passion. So our graduate program really does have it all, with those 7 key points of support for graduates, as well as comprehensive learning curriculum, both in your own discipline and working in the disability sector in general. So a great way to get your career off to a really cracking start.
And there's so much choice and control with that PD budget as well, Trish. I see those requests coming through, and it could be a webinar, it could be an online course, it could be a workshop in person. It's really quite endless, which I think allows it to be refined for how you like to learn as well. Trish, this is so much information about the graduate program. What do you want our key takeaway to be from this?
I think, Jenny, the key takeaway really is that the support and structure is all there for you. So you don't have to worry. We've got you. I guess that's the take home, Danny.
Good take home message. Thank you so much, Trish. Now, if you have some questions about the curriculum and the points that Trish has already spoken about, we are going to be monitoring the chat as well. So if you have those questions in mind, now's a great time to start popping those ones in there. I would now love to introduce our wonderful new graduates. Welcome, Meg and Hala. Meg, you're a graduate speech pathologist who started earlier this year in our 2025 program. And Hala, you're an occupational therapist who joined us last year in our 2024 program. Welcome to you both. How are you feeling this evening?
Thank you. I'm feeling really good. I'm really excited to share my experience so far with Everyday Independence.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm doing great as well. Thank you. Calling in from sunny WA.
Oh, beautiful. Send the sun down to Victoria for me. That would be wonderful. Now, my first question for you both is, why did you choose Everyday Independence?
I chose Everyday Independence because, like you, Danny, I was fortunate to complete my student placement last year, which allowed me to experience the everyday way firsthand before joining the graduate program. I really enjoyed the supportive and dynamic environment, which played quite a significant role in my decision to become part of the team.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Meg. And Hala, what about yourself?
I chose Everyday Independence because I applied for several occupational therapy roles after graduating, and having completed a community placement, I knew that disability sector is where I wanted to be. And I told my mum that I would just go with the organisation that gave me the best vibe. And during my interview at Everyday Independence, I felt an immediate sense of connection. The atmosphere was really welcoming. Every question that I had was answered. And I felt just really reassured about navigating the NDIS process and working in the community. I was especially drawn to the strong team environment and the excitement surrounding Wednesdays in the Hub when everyone comes together to collaborate.
And we'll certainly be hearing a bit more about Wednesdays later on in this presentation as well. And you've heard it here first, good vibes at Everyday Independence. But Meg, I would love to ask you a really specific question. What's your experience been of the Everyday Independence supervision?
So I've had really excellent supervision experiences at Everyday Independence, and I really appreciate the balance of both group and one-on-one sessions. So the individual supervision sessions allows for sort of tailored guidance specific to my caseload, while the group supervision provides a valued opportunity to hear from other new grad speeches across the organisation as well. So it's been a great space to ask questions, support one another, and share all of our experiences, all with guidance from our clinical supervisor to help us sort of navigate our challenges together.
And how do you prepare for those supervision sessions?
So I'll typically go through some of the graduate learning that we've just done and write any questions that I have for those, any concerns or queries or anything. And then I will also go through my caseload, see if there's any specific participants that I want to cover more things on.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Now, Hala, Trish referred to this image earlier. She talked about all the different 7 structures of support. Who do you find the most important member of your supervision team?
Look, my team leader at my hub, who's my direct report, she has been honestly an incredible role model in helping me develop strong clinical and professional habits. So she's supported me in structuring my calendar, which helps me maximize my productivity, but also ensuring that it does align with my personal working style. Our weekly one-on-one check-ins have been invaluable, and it provides guidance on working the everyday way and ensures that I receive the interdisciplinary support that I need for both me and my participants. I would consider my team leader the most essential member of my supervision team. Toward the end of last year, when I faced some challenges, she was instantly supportive. She sat down with me, listened, and immediately asked how herself and Everyday Independence could support me. Just knowing that you have that unwavering support in your first year outside of uni is just truly amazing.
Absolutely love that example, because I know that your experience then is actually the same of everyone else at Everyday Independence, reaching out, asking support, and being met with that from your team leader and your supervision team. You've mentioned that your team leader supported you in a really personalised way to make a calendar structure that works for you. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I really value my work-life balance. So I currently work a 9-day fortnight, and I worked a 9-day fortnight all through my grad program as well. And that was facilitated really easily for me. And everyone in the Everyday Independence team that was involved in helping me do that and structure that was really, really helpful and supportive. It never felt like there was any bumps in the road. And I also start a little bit later on one day of the week, just because I have a Pilates class that only starts a little bit later in the morning in that week. So because of that, I just work a little bit later on another day, which is my choice to do as well. And it's been supported, and I've been helped through all of it the whole time.
I love that. And those opportunities where you get to start a little bit earlier or finish a little bit later, it's actually a really unique support for our participants as well. I know from times that I've done it, I've put my hand up and done an early morning session and finished up a little bit earlier either that day or saved it in the bank for a Friday afternoon. Thank you, Hala. Meg, I'd love to go back across to yourself. What are you actually covering in these supervision sessions?
So the focus of each supervision session depends on the format. In group sessions, we begin by sharing a general like practice-related questions with our clinical supervisor, followed by more specific discussions about our caseloads and participants. So in my most recent group session, for example, we reviewed key takeaways from the latest speech pathology community of practice, which was on mealtime management. And we explored how to integrate those insights into our own practice. And then during our one-on-one sessions, the focus shifts more to participant-specific and caseload-related questions, where I receive support in completing notes and reporting. Meanwhile, sessions with my team leader at the hub emphasise building strong professional habits, effectively managing my caseload, and optimising my calendar for productivity.
Sounds like you've certainly got a time and place for all of those right conversations. As part of your session, maybe with a clinical supervisor, for instance, or group supervision, could you give me an example of a participant situation that you might take along with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently I started with a new participant she's 14 years old and she has cerebral palsy, and she does have a device to communicate clearly, but the family's goal is for her to be able to speak verbally at home. I was a bit unsure with how to go about this situation, so I took it to my clinical supervisor to get advice on sort of the evidence base around this, which she provided me with a lot of resources to research for what to do in my therapy plan.
That's fantastic. And what was the outcome in the end then? What did you decide to do?
So because it's the family's wishes and because the participant also really wants to be able to communicate verbally with her family, and based on the evidence as well, it actually showed that even though they are teenagers and it might be easier for them to use the device, if their wishes are to communicate verbally, then definitely start articulation therapy for that.
What a good balance of evidence and wishes, but also the NDIS has choice and control as some of its core pillars and values. And I think that example just truly demonstrates the importance of that and how validating for the family.
Yeah, very.
I'll head across back to you. How are you finding the group peer reflections and the group clinical supervision sessions? Are they helpful?
Yeah, I think that group clinical supervisions are invaluable, especially when you have senior leaders who guide small groups and share their expertise. Learning from them is an incredible opportunity, and it's also just reassuring to participate in these sessions, knowing that my peers also have similar struggles or concerns. Working through challenges together fosters growth and makes the experience a lot more meaningful. Peer reflections are equally beneficial for me. Everyone brings a unique perspective across therapy disciplines, and it allows me to see things through a different therapist lenses and integrate those insights into my own practice.
Love it. And it's nice to know you're not alone when you're feeling, oh, am I on the right track? Are other people thinking the same thing as me? Could you really describe it to me in terms of how many people are in these group sessions? What does it look like?
Yeah, so in the group sessions, usually have about 4 people for us in my groups, and it really it's like working collaboratively, which is so important and so important in the community and NDIS space as well. It not only builds up your clinical expertise, but also your professional expertise as well, because you will be working with a lot of key stakeholders and a lot of them will be external, and being able to collaborate with other people is really important. And it really just looks like people going through their cases, looking for clinical advice, but it also is more of like a coaching type way of doing it, rather than you look just, I have a question, here's an answer. I mean, Google works like that really, but that human connection of, how to really deeply think, so that in the future you do have those skills.
Also know that sometimes you're guided to the question, oh, sorry, to the answer yourself. You probably know what it could be rather than just doing the quick Google search. It's such a great way to continue to learn. And thank you for describing that. I think it puts a lot of people at ease around what those sessions look like. So there's 4 people. Is the time shared quite well between each person?
Yeah, for sure. And everyone is really supportive. And if I could like explain anything and how it looks, you just feel like everyone's on your side. Sometimes it might feel like as a new grad, you've got a bit of imposter syndrome, things feel a bit hard. You go into these group sessions and you've just got this whole team that are there to support you.
I love it. Validation. Thank you so much, Harla. So, Meg and Harla, I've got a joint question for you both. You've been at EI for a number of months or year now. I'd love to hear about a rewarding story that stands out to you, where you've made an impact with your participant during your time here at Everyday Independence.
I'll go first. So I have a family who were very uncertain about accessing our services. I went in and did an initial with the oldest daughter, and the mum was quite uncertain about continuing. I then did a focused assessment and just continued to build the relationship. That was the most important thing for me, to build rapport first before anything else. And the family were really happy with it, to the point where they had called the hub and also emailed me and given me really great feedback to say that she was really comfortable with me and looking forward to engaging in services, which was really lovely to hear.
Meg, I love that. So good that you got the recognition from your family and the participant as well. What did you do to build rapport so beautifully with the family?
The family had specifically told me that she hasn't necessarily engaged with previous therapy because it was quite tabletop activities. So I made sure to not include that, make it very informal, play some games while also getting some great information as well.
Oh, beautiful, Meg. Thank you so much. Such a balance, but also making sure that the therapy is tailored to what's going to work for the family.
Yeah.
And Hala, what about yourself? Is there a story that comes to mind?
Yeah, I have a participant who has quite complex needs. She's living with an acquired brain injury as well as a few psychosocial disabilities. And at first, she was quite disengaged and really hesitant to accessing services. And I've been working with her for about a year now. And the other night, after for a very long time, relying on Uber Eats, DoorDash, and the likes of it for meals, she actually sent me a photo of a steak with peas, mash, gravy that she had cooked herself after we had worked on that goal-in session. So that was super satisfying.
Oh, what a good nutritious meal. That's fantastic. DoorDash certainly couldn't have sent anything that would come close to that.
No.
And how did the participant feel? Did they say?
Yeah, she felt very empowered. And although she didn't say to me that she felt empowered, you can see it now in the rest of our goals, that there isn't this feeling of despair or defeat that because they're living with a disability or with a couple of disabilities that they aren't able to reach their goals. It's now that intrinsic motivation that I've got my therapist, I've got my support team, I can do anything.
So what is next for this participant? What's the next step for her?
We're currently working on accessing the community independently, which hasn't been done for a couple of years. And next week, we actually do have a session where we're going to a coffee shop together. So that's going to be awesome.
Oh, I love it. Natural environments, being where it's happening, being out and about. Thank you so much, Harla and Meg. I think you've just really highlighted the importance of working in a very person-centered manner for your families, for the participants, empowering them to be involved in their therapy journey, but also celebrating all of that success along the way, because it's incredibly life-changing knowing that someone can cook a meal for themselves, someone's got choice around how they want to communicate and where. So thank you very much for your stories. I'd like to just remind all of our attendees as well, if you do have a specific question for Hala and for Meg, please pop it in the chat. We will be monitoring it. If you want to hear more from them about something more specific, we will have a Q&A later on this evening. So to continue to paint a picture for you, I have two examples on the slide here from some other graduates in our program. The first video will follow the life of Emily Stewart, who is a physiotherapist in our Outer Eastern Melbourne team within Victoria. And then the second video is from Belle Cheng, an OT graduate from our Bayside hub, who's going to show us what Wednesdays look like when we're all together.
Hi, I'm Emily, a physiotherapist at Everyday Independence. Come spend a Monday with me. I joined my group mentoring session from the car today, as my first session was at a gym, and I had a couple of cancellations today, so I headed into the office where I found these fun Christmas decorations. As I was in the office today, I was able to catch up and collaborate with the OTs and key workers that form our interdisciplinary teams, and I took a movement break in the sunshine and had my lunch, and then I used the rest of my time to catch up on some admin and start a PD on aquatic physio. Then my final session for the day was at the pool, and then I finished my day playing netball with friends.
Hi, this is Belle, new grad OT from Everyday Independence, and this is what our hub look like on a Wednesday. Every Wednesday we have team meeting where we share our wins and update. Then I went into a meeting with a senior OT in our hub and other OTs online about onboarding students in EI this year. I have team meeting with my team leader. I'm seeing my team leader per fortnight for regular support, but I can also message her whenever I need to. Next, a new grad program with my fellow new grad OT, PBS and Speechy. This helps us to build a solid foundation to kickstart our professional journey. And then I had to do some phone calls. Being in the hub makes Teams communication much easier because you can just knock on doors. Here I was talking to admin to reschedule some appointments. At the end of the day, I was shadowed by one of our new starters. And that's the end of my Wednesday in the hub. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm Emily, a physiotherapist.
Now I would like to actually introduce you to someone else within our Everyday Independence team. Welcome, Mel. Thank you so much for jumping on with us tonight. You are our talent acquisition consult here at EI. I'd love to know, what's your role in supporting our graduates?
Yeah, so I'm the talent acquisition consultant. I'm based in Adelaide. So from your first inquiry to your first day on the job, our dedicated talent acquisition team is here to guide you through every step of the way. So we will support you through the application process, prepare you for interviews, ensure all compliance checks are completed smoothly, and celebrate with you as you commence your exciting new career with us.
Fantastic. So Mel, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more around the behind the scenes, all the nitty-gritty information about coming on board as a graduate.
Absolutely. So a new graduate practitioner with Everyday Independence, in terms of a salary, you would be looking at 85,960, which includes your annual leave loading and your superannuation. But there are always ways to increase your salary up to 97,000. So some of those ways can include increasing your billable hours. You can also get additional everyday way bonuses. You can refer a friend or as many friends as you like. We also offer professional development allowances and a large variety of internal PD courses as well. Later on in your career, you can also increase your salary by stepping up into a team leader role or into a clinical supervisor role or therapy mentor role yourself. We do annual performance and salary reviews, and down the track, you can also choose to take on additional billable hours again to bump up your salary even further as well.
Wonderful. And tell us a little bit more, though, about the culture. What is it like?
Yeah, so our hubs are very vibrant environments. They're full of snacks, plenty of food. Quite often you'll see pets in the hubs as well, which is really great. I think, Danny, you were mentioning every hub can be quite different, although they're all great, vibrant, positive environments. But I know you had some examples that you would love to share.
Yeah, we literally just spoke about this just before, and I have the privilege of traveling around to a range of different offices. And what I've seen, for instance, Ballarat is absolutely a team that comes together with morning tea. So week in, week out, they love nothing more than a culture of food and coming together. And so there could be a packet of Tim Tam, someone may bake a cake, someone might actually say, let's have a cook-off, and there'll be a range of different food there. So I particularly love popping into Ballarat on a Wednesday. In contrast, though, our Shepparton team, they love to go for a walk and talk meeting. So they might, on their Wednesdays, walk down to the local cafe all together, grab a coffee order, sit at a table, and then walk back as well and have a little bit of a debrief in the office before getting into the rest of their afternoon. So it's nice to know that whilst every hub's different in the way they celebrate what they do, it's all about the connection at the core of it.
Absolutely. And in terms of our impact nationally, so we have approximately 900 employees with more than 600 practitioners, 40 hubs across 6 states, and we're further expanding our reach into Queensland, Tasmania, WA, and New South Wales. And we're helping participants access services sooner and providing value for money with habit coaches as well. Okay, perfect. And the next slide is some of the fantastic benefits that we do offer as an organisation. So I'll run you through some of the key benefits that we do offer. So we have our everyday wellbeing. So you're entitled to 2 wellbeing days off each year. You have access to a number of discounts across retail, electronics, insurance, fitness, and much more. As we discussed, the vibrant hub life as well, and our EAP program. We offer everyday flexibility. So we have a 12-week paid parental leave program, and we also offer flexible working arrangements. Being a large national company, we do offer flexibility for you to relocate if that's something that you're wanting to do. There is an option to purchase additional leave on top of your entitlement. And also purpose leave to take time off to explore your passions as well. In terms of our everyday growth, so we offer professional development, obviously our industry leading graduate program, career coaching, a tailored induction program, and plenty of ongoing learning and development as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Val. I think it's really quite endless in terms of the ways you can support yourself to grow, be supported along the journey as well, and have some extra benefits. Now, a lot of these benefits as well are really unique because, like you said, we are a nationwide organisation, and with that comes a range of perks. So, Mel, in terms of next steps here,
Yes.
What do you recommend if someone's interested?
Yeah, so definitely head to our website. We have a lot of information on our website about our graduate program and the different clinical pathways that you can take. We also have our jobs that are available listed on our website where you can apply directly. Or if you have any questions, you can send an email to the careers email address on your screen.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mel. So if you're not sure, reach out, give us a contact, and Mel and one of our other wonderful careers team will be in contact with you. So we've provided everyone with a wealth of information What we would love to do now is actually use the next 15 minutes as a Q&A, so we are answering the questions that you would like to know. I know, Trish, you've already jumped in and actually started responding to some of these questions while we've been presenting. So I'll just go through some of these ones. So Mel, this could be a great one for you. Would you accept expressions of interest or applications from a student that would graduate at the end of 2025?
Yes, absolutely. We'll accept expressions of interest. We do also have jobs advertised on our website for habit coaches that you may be interested in as well.
Fantastic. And Mel, there's another question that could be great for yourself. Anyone else jump in? Could you elaborate further on what the 12-month purpose leave is?
Yes, so the purpose leave allows you to take time off to explore your passions. So whether that is maybe wanting to take an overseas trip, Danielle, you might be able to give a few more examples of how it's maybe used in your area.
100%. So I've had some team members turn around and say, look, I really would just want to travel, worked really hard through my university studies. I've worked as a graduate, I've found my feet, but now I actually just want to enjoy life. I want to go and travel and live overseas for 6 to 12 months, but I actually fully intend to come back to Australia and want to return back to this job. So that is an example as to how someone's used purpose leave. And look, I strongly encourage it. It's such a great way to be able to take a break from work and actually just enjoy life. I do also know someone from a different area, Mel, who had a similar idea, but instead they actually wanted to volunteer over in South America for a little bit. So for them, it was a self-fulfilling and meaningful passion that they had, that they'd put on the back burner for a number of years.
We've had people do ongoing study too, haven't we, Danny? I know it's probably it might be the last thing on your mind, finishing your undergraduate degree for you guys, but at some point you might want to do more study, and that would be another opportunity.
Good point. Actually, there was someone who I think the play therapist program is always something that's being talked about, where people want to stop, go off and do that. And as part of doing those extra studies, you may have placement and other experience as well that take away from your ability to work. So I know someone who went from full-time to flexible working, took some purpose leave, and then decided to come back later on once they had finished their studies. Brilliant. I love this next question. What do you mean by billable hours? How many billable hours do we need to achieve on a weekly basis? Now, I'm going to answer this one. So billable hours, service delivery hours, KPIs, we hear it all in terms of language in the industry, not just at Everyday Independence. Most private practices will have a KPI or a billable hour. And if it's not a private practice, then it could be a hospital, in which case you may have stats and associated KPIs with that. So in terms of setting the scene, I'd much rather talk about support hours, hours of support for our participants. So as part of a graduate, depends on if you're a full-time or part-time team member, but I'm going to talk about it from a full-time perspective. So in week 1, your target is 0, because we want you just to focus on supporting your learning at EI. You've got a lot of induction information to absorb in that first week, where we want you to supervise some sessions, go along, observe, and just focus on you. In week 2, your service hours or support hours increases to 16 hours as you start to manage your own caseload. So in those sessions, that's where you've got a supervisor coming out with you, going along for your sessions. Now, our sessions go for an hour and a half, and what contributes to that billable hour or support hours is travel, face-to-face time, indirect time, where you might be doing some case notes, resources, and follow-up as well. So if we looked at 26 divided by 2 as an approximate, straight away, you know, in your second week, you're seeing 8 people. From months 7 to 12, your target reaches around 25 hours. So that allows you to continue to focus on those group supervisions, the peer reflection sessions, your one-to-one mentoring sessions with your clinical supervisor, and also with your team leader. So your first 6 months is actually just focused still on you and learning. And then at the end of the 12-month program, once you've really found your feet, that's when we would increase your target to 26 hours. And what we've found with this transition is people actually find they don't need that higher level of support that you've had for the last 12 months. They feel really confident for those things to be moved away. And also along that way, you've developed a lot of efficiency skills as well, that writing a report in maybe your first few months at EI isn't going to take as long once you hit your 11th-month mark. So in summary, for a full-time ongoing team member, it is 26. After you've completed around that 6-month mark, it is about 25, and there is a gradual increase throughout your induction program. This question that we have here is, what do you look for in applicants for the graduate program? Is it just an undergraduate? Oops, sorry, it just moved on me.
Sorry, you know why, Danny? Because I just pushed enter on responding to that question. So the question was asking about, do you need to have a prior experience, or is it just a degree? And my response was, you don't necessarily need to have any additional experience. We just want someone who's really passionate about supporting people living with disability to live their best lives, and someone who's really keen to learn. And so that was the response. So apologies for making that disappear on you, Danny.
You're all good. So Daniel has sent through a question which I think relates to the billable service delivery support hours question that we had before, which is, what is it on a daily basis? Hala and Meg, I'd love to hear from you. What is your daily support hours? What does it look like?
I'll go first if you want, Meg. So honestly, with the work-life balance situation that I was talking about before, my support hours change every single day, which is actually, while that might sound scary, it's actually really good. I might start on a Monday, 9 a.m. and have my first session, which is 90 minutes. And then I might have my next session, which actually goes over that 90-minute session, because it could have been where I was doing assessments, or it could have been that working in the social model when we're going and observing or being a part of something that someone does, that might take a little bit more time. And then I might have another session afterwards that takes another 90 minutes as well. And then for that day, that's like, you know, my maths isn't that great, but I would have hit my billable targets for that day, which if I'm working full-time hours is 5.2 in one day, which sounds like a lot, but if you're working an 8-hour day and you're doing 5.2 hours of support work hours, that's what you're hitting for your target. You've got around 3 hours in your day to do your admin, to catch up with your team member, to go and get that drive-through coffee from, I don't know if you guys have it over East, but Muzz Buzz. But yeah, I think it is achievable, and it's, as you go through the grad program, you're supported to reach those billables.
You've just brought up an incredible point there, because often we hold ourselves to that daily account, right? You know, 5.2 every single day, but life is so variable, and with the flexibility of what we do, I encourage people, look at it across a week. If you want to have some bigger days where you're back to back, some quieter days, I love having a report writing or more of an indirect based day, so I can really get down into that deep work. Meg, what about you? How do you structure your week to achieve your daily service delivery target?
I was going to add that I absolutely agree that it is flexible, and I do also look at it more from a week than daily, because every day is different. And some days for me look like back-to-back sessions, depending on where the sessions are as well. I typically like to tailor them all in a similar area so that I can fit them in. But some days you might be traveling a little bit further. And then some days will all be face-to-face with some participants, but other days I do like to slot in a report writing block, which is typically an hour and a half, or resource making or things like that, that sort of just break up the day a bit more.
I love it. And I've actually also, just to add to this, got a team member as well that looks at it across a fortnight. You know, they have a big week, a quieter week. At the end of the day, if it's achieved by the end of the month, that's realistically the picture and what we're aiming for. Oh, good question. So someone's just said, thank you very much, Trish, for clarifying. What about cancellations? If we get a cancellation during the week, does that mean that we won't be able to reach our billable hour target? Who would like to answer this one?
I'm happy to jump on it.
Go for it, mate.
We have a 48-hour cancellation policy. So anything that's cancelled in under 48 hours will still be billed for the time that the session was booked for. We send out an automated message 4 days before a session and 2 days before a session. So they get a solid reminder that they have the session coming up. So if it's over 48 hours, then it won't be billed. But if it's under 48 hours, then it will be billed.
Thank you so much, Meg. Trish, I'd love your perspective. You have had cancellations over years. What do you do if you get a cancellation?
Great question. Well, my answer to almost every question is it depends. So to give you an example there, Danny, if someone's called because they're not feeling well and they're worried that they're going to spread the germs, but they're okay, you know, they wouldn't mind going through the session, but they're trying to do the right thing, you know, we would say, hey, you know, how would you feel about pivoting to a phone call or teletherapy? And that way you can still provide that person with support, like they're still getting something for their money. And they're still receiving the support, you know, towards their outcomes. So being flexible and thinking about how else could I support this person would obviously depend on the reason for the cancellation. If they couldn't do that, like if that wasn't a possibility for them for whatever reason, and we were within that 48-hour period, I would be racking my brains for what can I do to help you towards your outcome using the time that you're paying for in that session. So I might get started on an outcome report. I might be finishing off some resources that we discussed making together. I might be looking up some, like doing some research on something that, you know, looking at a program close by that we might have discussed. So there's almost always something that you can do for a participant to give them some value for that time. Yeah, and in this, according to the NDIS's policy with those cancellations, if we're able to do something else that's billable for another participant, we wouldn't have to charge that cancellation. So it might be that I have, you know what, I've been looking for a time to do that report for, you know, Joe Blogs over here. So I'm going to do that report and just let them know, hey, usually we would charge cancellation, but I've been able to start on something else billable, so we don't charge it on this instance. So it's really about trying to provide value and support for people during that time as much as possible.
100%. Thank you so much, Trish. And I do really appreciate the reminder from the ethical side of it as well. If we can replace it to continue to work towards an outcome, that's what we want to do. That's why we do what we do. Now, we've done so many Q&As. Oh, we've got another one. Is there any work that you can take home outside of your working hours if it just gets busy, or just try to finish it in your own time? So I think that really connects in with the working flexibly. I'd love to put this to the group though.
You know what, Danny, this is so funny when we've just talked about working sustainably and how important that is, right? So you know, we do all we can and encourage practitioners to try and get things done even within a session, and that way all the case notes and things, you're involving people, it's person-centered, and it helps you be sustainable as a practitioner. So, you know, once every now and then, if that's flexible and works for you to work outside and take something home, that's absolutely your choice. But we just like you to all be keeping an eye on that for yourselves so that you're looking after yourselves and being sustainable. So, you know, we don't want that to become a habit for people that they're feeling like they're needing to do extra time.
100%. It's about making sure it's going to work for us years from now. And I know that there's been times that I've thought something's been incredibly urgent, had a conversation with a peer or spoken to my mentor, and you get validated. And Hella, I can see you nodding. Yeah, it's probably not urgent. Now, we've had one more question come through. I am mindful that it's just hit 7 o'clock, so we may not be able to continue to answer questions. As Everyday Independence works with the NDIS, I was wondering what the documentation will look like working as OTs, and will we get support for this in the new grad program? I want to hear from Hella and Meg. How have you found the transition for NDIS documents?
I mean, I think that the program that we use where all our participant profiles are is really good. When you do a case note, you can almost like sub it into like what type of case note it is, what's most appropriate. For example, was it a therapy session? Was it a correspondence that you had with someone? And then even in that note, there's subtitles and things that you can, do a drop down box and pre-populate and put it in. In terms of your documentation, with those 7 places of support that you can go to, you can go to a peer and say, hey, can you read my case note? What do you think about it? You can go to your clinical supervisor. You can go to a more experienced therapist within the hub and ask them. I think the best thing about Everyday Independence is everyone's so willing to help you all the time. And it's never a feeling of someone knows more than you. Everyone really sees it as flat line, and everyone just wants the other person to do the best. And yeah, I think that type of support that you've got at EI really helps.
Meg, do you have anything else to add in there?
I do, yes. We've also got Everyday Connect, which is a website where we have a lot of resources and support on as well. And that has templates for certain reports or documentation that you do need to complete for certain things. For example, a speech pathologist has to do mealtime management plans or reports to document, which is a legal requirement. So there's templates for that and support, and there's a big thing called the Knowledge Hub, which has a lot under that as well, which I find very helpful. And like Carla said as well, you've got support from the 7 people. There's been so many times where I'm not quite sure what template to write or what to add in this particular part, and I've always had an answer from one of those 7 supports, which has been fabulous.
Oh, fantastic. Look, I'm recognizing the time. So in terms of finishing off this opportunity, I actually just wanted to go around the room very quickly and just ask Mel, Hella, Meg, and Trish, what would be your key takeaway that you want people to have from this evening?
I'm happy to kick off, Danny. You can never shut me up. I just think if you're interested at all, get in touch and find out more. That's my advice to you. So if it sparked any curiosity from you, if you're on the fence, do I look into it or not? Pop in an application, have a chat with someone from the organisation, and they'll answer maybe some of those questions you might not have been able to get to tonight, or maybe that will occur to you tomorrow when you're thinking about things.
Thank you so much, Trish. Meg, I see you've taken yourself off mute.
Yes, mine would absolutely be lean into your support. Often there's been a few times where I'm like, oh, I've got this question, but I don't want to nag anyone. But you end up getting the answers straight away, and you get so much support, and no question is too small or too silly. It's always a reasonable question, and yeah, you have a lot of support, so lean on them.
I love it. Thank you, Meg. Hella.
Look, as someone who has just completed the grad program, all I can say is where I went from my first day at EI and where I am now, I can't believe the growth that I've had in 12 months. And I would encourage anyone to apply for the grad program at Everyday Independence, because you come out on the other side feeling like you can now support the next person as well. So your 7 supports might actually bump up to 8.
Pay it forward. Thank you, Hala. Mel.
I think if anyone has any questions about anything, whether it's how to apply, if they're not sure about, their qualifications, whatever it might be, please send us through an email and we'll come back to you.
Thank you, Mel. And my closing statement for everyone tonight is this is the place for you to find yourself. Whether you want career ambition, growth, opportunity, this is for you. If you want work-life balance and a sustainable workplace that's going to help you 8 years down the track from now, this is for you. If you're not sure and you want to give disability community supports a go, but also change your caseload over the years, go for it. My last word is that it is incredibly rewarding. Regardless of what you choose, you can change your career and your choices along the way. This is the organisation that's going to empower you and allow you to be supported in a person-centered and strength-based way. So I do want to say a very big thank you for everyone staying on tonight, for all of our panelists as well for staying on for an additional 6 minutes. But most of all, I do want to say a very big thank you to Billy as well, who has been on here behind the scenes, making sure our audio presentation and the entire event has worked seamlessly. This event will be recorded as well, so if you want to go back and listen to it, please do. And also, if you'd like to share it with anyone else that might be interested in this opportunity but couldn't make it, then please, by all means, send it on to them. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we do hope that this is the career destination for you.